Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining again and indulging me and giving me your time and attention. Today, I didn't know quite what to speak on until just a couple of weeks ago, and what or who, if you want to say, stepped forward was actually surprisingly Saint Germain. I'm not somebody who necessarily gives as much. I guess the word that wants to be said is authority over to external deities and so on. I kind of find myself a little bit more on the belief structure that everything is a manifestation of miraculous light and God force energy, instead of saying like some type of traditional religion that gives over the archetypal energy and power to these things or entities beyond the self. And so when I think of things such as the Saint Germain, angels, God, Jesus, any of these type of powerful ascended masters or embodiments of light, it triggers me in, maybe triggers the wrong word, it brings up resistance energy within me because of so many of the underlying nuances and expectations that things like organized religion brings into our own personal ideas. And so today, while I speak on this, definitely keep in mind that grain of salt that knows that Deana's a skeptic. But so in that way, I also don't know as much as others may know about the subject of Saint Germain. So when the energy kept showing itself and speaking to me, I was like, all right, I need to figure out what this is. And so I looked up some of the other individuals and experts on the subject's ideas. And some of the basics that were stepping forward was he's really sort of what I would call a Renaissance man, in the sense of the word that he was said to have been a scholar, a philosopher, a healer, a socialite, somebody who did a lot of study in alchemy and so many other things. So what else do we have here? There was the main story of the becoming was that he actually had a separate name to begin with, and that um, the story goes, the traditional story was that he was perhaps one of the individuals witnessing Christ carrying the cross through the streets, and as he fell and took a rest, that this guy stepped forward, and therefore Jesus said something about I'll rest when blah blah, and this was some type of supposed curse that some would say that he cursed Saint Germain as an immortal, and so he blessed him with the inability to die here. So then with this, he became this known as the Wandering Jew, and then we see a lot of missioning going on, but he ends up being some type of embodiment of that Christed energy. And whether we call it unity consciousness or Christ consciousness, it's the same type of an idea. So although we have some mysterious origins, and sometimes it's not as important if it's true or symbolic, archetypal energy is there for learning. And so some people will speculate whether he was royalty, the illegitimate son of somebody who was royalty, whether he was disowned, or all of this and more. Others even thought that he was some type of charlatan, social chameleon, some type of even con man. And, probably to the extent that most people in this world disown magic in any incarnation and explain it away with the logic and the brain, I think that this is symbolically an interesting idea. Whether we believe it or not, it is true. Whatever we believe becomes true. And I think that's the main lesson here. So he demonstrates in these stories a mastery of language, or symbolic language even. And so he's been said to have known several literal languages, then also a Master of Arts, history, science, and also a very skilled musician. Then from there, the alchemical portion of this, the ability to transmute or to shift any type of energy from lower to higher form through his tool of the violet flame. And as we know, the violet color is one of the hottest burning areas of the flame. When we look at it, the dancing flame, we can see that the hottest parts are the violet areas. So he's also associated with the Philosopher's Stone, the elixir of life, and the resurrection energy through healing ourselves to our higher destiny, our highest embodiment and light. And in this way, he's the divine magician. So he also reminds us of our God essence, the I am presence. And if you are unfamiliar with this, it's speaking anything into form is to give it attention, and whatever our attention goes to, that's where our energy is flowing and co-creating with spirit at all times. And so this is the reminder that every vibration that we have lends itself to thoughts and beliefs, and therefore our ability to invoke or spell things into matter as the magician, it's our power to give our attention. And so if we wish to be healed, whole, well loved, and so on, this is within our hands. So he also, lastly, is said to warn of some dangers or pitfalls within history and important people, and some type of connections with precognition in that way. So I want to share with you a bit of a channel message. I don't do this very often. That's my disclaimer here. And so as I sat down to do it, I almost didn't have the expectation that it was truly potentially going to happen. But even in the I Am Discourses book that was said to be a channeling of Saint Germain, I had been reading that, and it was talking about if you believe in all of these things, such as the vibration is the becoming, then why not believe that we're all in contact with these energies at all times? And if we can believe this on the logical level, can we feel it? Can we truly embody and believe that we are the light and the recurring investment in that light and the repurification of our body, mind, and soul at all times? So I'll just read this somewhat verbatim if I can, and I'll try to slow it down because there's a lot of, I want to call it codes, and then you have to look at it and think about it and feel about it. So instead of trying to understand what the heck is she talking about, or he or it, whatever, speaking, just feel the words and grab the essence, and things will hopefully come back around by the end. So as I sat down, I was in the third dimension, so to speak, thinking about things to be done and my chores. So I had to grab my charger cord from my altar space and the reading space. I consulted spirit. I threw some cards and got some powerful cards coming out recently, which I'll skip over here. And Saint Germain, even this morning, popped out again, yesterday, again. And so I'm setting my attention to return to do the channeling and coming, into contact with my life, and these things that I could be irritated by on some days are just showing themselves as the blessings of the present tense. It's like, why do we try to wish away our blessings? But we do this on a daily basis. And so I return inside, and the clock says 11:11. And this confirms it's the time and space to do this, but I can't help myself. I have to grab the carpet shampooer because that's what's next. And so I set my intention, but I make sure to put it out of my sight because I don't want to be distracted. I'm recommitting. And so I sit down, I'm hearing the outdoors, the birds, the sun, all of the animals and insects buzzing around outdoors. and the sounds of birds crowing, singing, talking to each other across the fields. And I even see my daughter pass by, and I think about my blessings. And with this gratitude and expansion coming over me at this time, I identify and extend the miracles here that are happening in the mundane world as just the mundane in motion. The nervous system that I am, hyper connected to its environment in such a way that there's a recognition and an awareness that the world itself is an extension of my chakra systems, and so are all the other individuals that I'm connecting with or polarizing against. The trees, I can sense the tingling of their chakra systems, one with my own. And I think back to the one resistant affirmation that kept stepping forward from the Saint Germain channelings that I read in the discourses as I am resurrection and life, which I kept hearing as I am the resurrection and the light. And so this cognitive, conditioned obscurity of this comment, it veils because of this opinionated predisposition that I have, of course, and it tells me about the issues that I find and the judgments that I cast about the false or misguided light being used with other individuals. And yet I'm being told, focus on the truth of the word, the vibration of the word, not what others have pretended it to mean. What does it mean authentically in your core? And the resurrection is just a return to our inner light, a return to our purity, health, wholeness, and the interconnectedness of origin, source, the unity consciousness or Christed consciousness. And to appeal to all, let's play with our symbol language on this one here, where the all, the everything that is but a conglomeration of vibrations intricately woven together by magnetism, polarity, looping or recursive or resurrected vibrating waveforms, and those waves form. So there's no coincidence, and I think that most of us here have seen and witnessed that truth. All is in formation. The words that we use and choose are those spells, spelling our reality and our own becoming process. Many enlightened souls co-created the symbol languages that we use today, yet the minds of the masses have largely forgotten their true power of invocation, because as we speak, so we are. This is the gift bestowed upon all life, to strive and express the inner life force energy through this outer conglomeration of appearances. The free will and our choices are our embodiment. The inner manifestation of our vibrational expression becomes us, or more accurately, the mask that we mistake for ourselves. As we speak, are we aware of the spells that we're weaving? Both, a hummingbird visits my feeder. Shadow and light, both are the sacred diversity that perpetuates and sustains this realm. The larger light, or the larger the mass, the larger the shadow that is cast. And we're being invited here to see those transgressions that we perceive as the learning process and temptations that we face as the process of our repurification process. These transgressions and temptations within us and those that we can cast upon our neighbors are the sensual embodiment process, the sacred adventure, the fool's journey. Call it what you will, it's the elixir of life. That's, as Jeanette was saying, you come back and then you want to do it again. You know, it's like, would we be so happy just sitting on a mountaintop, just consuming air, perhaps for a time, but that's not why we're in a body. And so we can't stand beside our bodies any longer here. The delight and the joy of life is to get deeply in those muddy waters and to sculpt the clay. The inner student, inner child, the adept is awakening to that spark of life, the return of the inner light, resurrecting life force energy. This is the embodiment of light. As we understand this light, that is the all and us, that is our origin, our destiny, and our purified state of being. Bless you. And the return to this state is our choice. Then can we hold that vibrational truth at the deep emotional and mental level? Because knowing is only half the battle. Embodiment is a co-creation between that potential and our possession of those energies. So coming forward on August 8th, 2024, we can see that this numerologically reduces to 888. Then we can see the 17th, the 26th, also 888. And then on the 1st, 10th, 19th, and 28th, 8 plus 1 plus 8 is 17, becomes another 8. So we've got this 8-8 every year, the alignment of our central sun with the other sun, Sirius. It really brings us into a more cosmic origin and re-identifies our identity or the mask with the more cosmic intentions. And so there's also this invitation with the 8, the infinity, when we turn it on its side, as the invitation to quit hamster wheel looping and spiral up. We return to that same old lesson in order to choose a new vibrational embodiment in that moment. And this collective that we're swimming within is all returning upon this larger cycle, upon cycles. And also the wheel of the year, from all of this year into the next perhaps, will serve as further activating gateways that we're being asked to choose for our embodiment at an individual level. 8 is the strength and courage card in the tarot, because of the will to overcome with integrity, grace, and gentle energy. To know, purify, and to embody divinity or unity consciousness. So aligning with our inner light honors the most sacred insight. The world and the word, the environment and the cosmos are an extension of our mind, body, and soul. If we can grasp the feeling state of this, then we may come to feel into the grace state that accepts that the toe that gets stubbed isn't necessarily to blame. So therefore, while the transgressors that we perceive are difficult to ignore, our mastery comes into greater holy alignment with purity and power as we invoke a prayer rather than blame for our so-called enemies. To use the word, the intention, and the true feeling of belief to heal our enemies heals our inner rebellion and delivers us to our own sovereignty. It's not enough to speak. The vibration and the spell is cast from the feeling and the embodiment. And full embodiment is difficult from a place of judgment, duality, or sarcasm. Indeed, the chasm is wide between word and deed, between word and feeling. The coming gateways are pressing those who know to reconnect and recommit to the greater embodiment of light. There are no coincidences. You're feeling these words on purpose. You're challenged by your situation in order to prove your light to yourself. We're carrying, each of us, some heavy load that weighs on us. Because of our judgments, perhaps. As the perspective is transmuted from burden into blessing, The load is no longer so heavy. He's not my brother, or excuse me, he's not heavy, he's my brother, is the invocation of acceptance and the ability to feel honored by those responsibilities and the accountability that we would accept, but not unduly. Reframing any past burdens or current context with this attitude delivers us from suffering. Everything and every time that we feel we're left holding the bag or victimized or feeling the heroic martyred self stepping forward, we're invited to weave these experiences together with greater light, to spin our life experiences into gifts, skills, and treasures. Another hummingbird and stayed a long time on the feeder. And I always like to stop and witness the hummingbird. And, they're out gathering nectar. They're so small, but so mighty. Their presence is subtle, yet their wings rumble the ethers. And they're able to reach more fully and more deeply into the skinniest little flowers to get the nectar where the bees can't get in. With all of their buzz and hierarchy, the hummingbird chooses to be the subtle, graceful energy, perhaps not even in the spotlight, and its face just buried in the flower of life. And the hummingbird's still sitting on the feeder. I'm told to wrap this up, and if any are wanting to join in with some affirmations, let's repeat 3 times. I am already healed. I am already healed. I am already healed. I am already healed. And this feels well to leave these messages here for now. The gifts are simply the alignment with and embodiment with the light. To shift the material, we shift the vibrational broadcast. To shift the vibration we cast is to purify the connection and the belief in our unity with the light. We are the power and the light. We are the word and the world. We are the light and the life force energy in motion. Emotion is energetic resonance with both light and dark, the yin and the yang, the positives and the negatives. And so, 3 times, I am the light. I am the light. I am the light. Is that 3?
That's 1 for you, 2 for us.
Yes, I am the light. So thank you so much. Bless you all. And I hope that you got something good out of that.
Thank you very much, Deana.
Thanks.